So there's a kind of a key expression especially by headhunters, in that employees are most often hired for skill but fired for fit. Again, it ties back to the first bullet point on this slide. There are so many times when you can hire someone who is brilliant at certain technical skills, but if they can't communicate, they can't get along with people, or they simply can't accept or fit into your corporate culture, then over time they are not going to be productive. And in fact, they place your organization at risk because they often become extremely disruptive. I think it's also important to know when you've got enough employees that you have depth in an organization to realize very often that a lot of your best talent and a lot of your optimum skills are really hidden in the middle of the organization. They don't get the opportunity to be exposed to senior management, to have the time to demonstrate what their capabilities are. I think another important point that I've always tried to practice is when you begin to gather information, especially if it's negative information, you have to gather a lot of information before you make decisions. And if you have a team around you that are experts in their areas or specialists, then those are the people that you should gather the most information from. My goal has always been to make the best decision possible and not to be tied up or consumed with whether I was the one that actually made the decision right. The best way to have power in an organization is to give up power. The more individuals you are teaching and delegating to and transferring power to, the greater they respect you and the greater they will rely on you for advice and counsel and recognition and the ability to learn. And that goes hand in hand with the concept of practice servant leadership. The basis of servant leadership is where you as a senior manager, executive, or owner put yourself in the position to provide the tools and the means for your team to do the most effective job that they possibly can. It's not about always giving orders or directions or directives. It's about placing them in the place and having the trust and faith in them that they will do their job in the manner it needs to be done, especially if you're able to identify and provide the tools that they need to do that job. Another one that oftentimes doesn't seem logical in the business world today, and that's you got to have a sense of humor. Because I think business is a lot more productive if people can have fun and if people can laugh. And of course, that can't be at the expense of other people. It can't be mean-spirited. But if you can develop a collegial, collaborative team that can enjoy humor together, it's a much greater bonding experience and it's a much more productive organization where you retain talent and you get a reputation for that, which helps you to attract new talent. In an organization, if everybody likes you, then you are definitely doing something wrong. But if everybody hates you, you're also definitely doing something wrong. You can never please everybody all of the time, and there are always going to be varying opinions to various situations. But if you are consistent and you are straightforward and your decisions are made with good intent and the vast majority of them are correct and move the company forward, then most will accept even if they don't agree with every factor that you're dealing with. And in almost every case, the opinions that they have are not based on knowing all of the facts. And most of the time, they aren't in a position where you can share all of those facts with them. And another one, again, that's not often associated with business owners and executives, to maintain full respect and performance from your employees, be humble. It does no good. There's no upside to being a braggart, and always be grateful and always express gratitude for your team members, even sometimes for just doing their normal daily job, but especially when they go above and beyond. In conjunction with that, as you are developing your employees, understand that there are basically two types of managers. There are those managers who take an employee and move them into a job, and it's sort of like having a lifeline attached to them. You reel them out slowly and give them just gradually more responsibility, more to do, and more trust. And then there are those managers who reel the rope all the way out and trust in that individual to do the job, and only begin to reel them back in as they need to, where they see them struggling or floundering. Next, again, it goes with be present with your employees when you're talking to them. Before you make decisions, especially before a ready, shoot, aim, you got to listen first. I strongly recommend using the 24-hour rule. Before you pull any trigger, give it 24 hours. Think it through. Give it some perspective. And almost always the next day, you'll see it in a different way. If you want to respect your employees and you want them to truly perform for you, they have to know that you can screw up, and they need to understand that you did when you did. Here's another one I like to follow that I've learned over the years, especially in general management, senior management. No one is an expert in everything. Know what you know how to do well and do it, and know what you don't know how to do well and find an expert that can do it for you. I always try to schedule some think time every day. A lot of times your mind works better at creative problem solving when it's actually focused on something else. Next one seems logical, but so many people abuse it, and I will admit that I was one of those. I went 18 months without taking a vacation. That was a very critical mistake. And in hindsight, only then did I really see that, because it burned me out. Next is a pretty simple one, because we all face challenges in life and in business, but I'm a huge believer, in fact, I'm just darn stubborn about it, is you just never give up. There's always a different approach, just never give up. As I've talked about, always surround yourself with experts, and if you can, always hire people that are smarter than you. You can always be learning, and again, if you've got experts that can provide you the information you need to make intelligent decisions, you'll become much smarter and much more successful for that. You should be the smartest person in your company, or the most knowledgeable at least, when it comes to what the dynamics are in your industry and what factors you need to understand to manage most effectively. When I'm hiring senior managers, and I think I'm ready to make them an offer, the last question I always ask them is simply this: are you willing to respectfully disagree and challenge me if you don't agree with me? Because I'm not going to get everything right. And if you have a different point of view or a different idea, I need to hear it. Again, my goal was always to get it right, not to be right. Communication, especially in this day and age, is critical, essential, and if you don't do it, it can literally kill your business. You have to control the narrative in your organization. If you don't, your employees will. An information vacuum creates a massive amount of rumor and innuendo, which can become completely out of control. Make a deliberate decision to have a corporate culture. Decide what your culture will be. Execute the efforts to confirm and enhance that culture. If you're going to have a health and wellness focused corporate culture, then you better be out in front doing the exercise or the nutrition plans or taking the health assessments or whatever that might be in your organization. You need to lead by example in those cases. A few other elements I think any business owner needs to understand: if your business isn't growing, you're dying, so you need to figure out how to grow. Continually reward and recognize creativity in your organization. Encourage calculated risk, not risk of any kind, not stupid risk, but calculated risk that has been well weighed out. And again, to the previous slide, it's an element of balancing the risk versus the reward on that particular risk. You have to create a culture in an organization where people understand that calculated risk is encouraged. Failure is not a sin, but it's critical that you learn how to fail fast. And both on a business level and on a human level, if you haven't failed, you're not trying and you just haven't really lived. It's just part of the life process. Next, decide what kind of company you want to manage. Part of it's based on the dynamics of the business and the market parameters it's in, but you need to understand that these are your basic 4 choices, and you need to decide where you are in your business and which one of these avenues you want to pursue as you continue to run the business. You really want to know within your company how it can be a better company, or to grow, cut costs, or develop new products, then ask your employees and listen. I utilized a very effective technique called start, stop, keep. I would do one-on-one private meetings with each employee in the company. And I would ask those employees, what would you like to see the company continue to do? Because we wanted to know that first. What would you like to see the company start doing? And what would you like to see the company stop doing? And it's amazing how much valuable information you can get, and they will basically lay out your go-forward strategy and identify the toxic elements and the weaknesses in any organization to form, so that you can form the basis of your go-forward strategy. There's 50% of every plan is wrong, and I'm still trying to figure out which 50% of my plan is right before we begin to invest in it. And that's true of any situation, so you have to be prepared to pivot and understand that in new product launch, new product development, nobody gets 100% of it right. So I sort of adopted or co-opted maybe this saying from a friend of mine, because I think it is just so true. These are some important things that we see at Raincatcher in some of the companies that would like for us to represent them in selling their business. And these are things that can be extremely debilitating in the valuation of a company or the ability to sell. Realize that there is really no excuse for poor or incomplete financial reporting. Your financial reporting should be in perfect order at all times. There is also no excuse for shoddy HR practices. There is too much importance today on talent retention, talent recruiting, diversity, inclusion, incentive programs. There's just a crazy, dangerous amount of information and risks to not have some type of HR expertise. And as we've talked earlier, there's no excuse for little or no delegation at your level. Too many companies are run by a business owner or an executive where the business is almost or completely reliant on that individual because they refuse to delegate and to give up that power, or what they saw as the power, or to become a true servant leader. And this last one is a little bit unusual, and this is the one, again, that I have learned the hard way. There's no excuse for retaining or tolerating toxic employees. Don't allow knowledge hoarders in your organization. If you have somebody who is a single point of failure in your organization because they hold all the customer relationships, or they are a key specialty scientific individual, if you will, you need to figure out how to fix that and reduce or eliminate that risk factor in your organization. Understand whether or not you are actually running a business that is individually sustainable, or if you're actually running a lifestyle business. So if you are an individual consultant with a unique set of knowledge or skills or experience in a business, and you want to sell that business someday, in almost all cases, your business is not sellable because that business is solely reliant on you. So last two, have an exit plan. Everybody who has a business is going to leave that business. You need to make a decision on how you're going to leave it. You're either going to leave it standing up under your own volition, or you're going to leave it laying down when your time comes and you leave this earth. You're going to leave this business. And in conjunction with that, have a life plan. So many business owners in particular, their life is their business. And once they sell their business, they don't know where they're going because they lose their purpose in life. And many become extremely depressed and despondent. And it often takes years to recover and develop that life plan and their new purpose in life. So get a head start on that and work on it in advance. And ladies and gentlemen, that is it. I hope I've been able to provide some little words of wisdom that will help you to become a more effective business owner or executive or manager, and to perhaps even hopefully enhance your own life. Thank you all. Be safe and be healthy.